In this video, we'll have a subject property, a hypothetical client that we're working with, and completely fill out the agreement of purchase and sale. Even put it into Authentisign and send it back and forth so we can see what it looks like at the end. This video will really help, and I'll also put another video in the cards here that breaks down the pre-printed clauses of the agreement of purchase and sale. Both videos, this and that, you'll be ready to go with the form that we used most as realtors. But I'm Callum Moore, eXp Realty Real Estate Broker here in Ontario, and let's just dive right into the computer. Okay guys, we're just at my video flow checklist. If you've ever seen me do videos like this is how I like to start them. This is how I would like to be taught. So I'm hoping you're the same way. We just quickly go over what we're gonna do, and then we dive right into it. I'm not gonna be filling out this agreement of purchase and sale like in PDF form in Adobe Reader or anything like that. We're gonna be filling out how you're going to do it as a realtor, because how I like to teach is 95 to 99% of everything you're going to do on a daily basis, right? So completely fill out agreement of purchase and sale plus Authentisign. Step one, fill out the APS on web forms, move it to Authentisign for signatures, and email the finished product back and forth. So you get to see how that even works at the end. All the stuff that I would like to learn. So additional support. Let's basically just dive right into it. The intro, you know what's happening in the intro. We have a subject property. We have a hypothetical client. Let's go for it. So basically from here, you're going to create a transaction. What we usually use is templates, but for the sake of this video, we're not going to be using any templates, but I do use them a ton. So let's just say we have a name. Let's just go Gary. In this case, there's tree there. Let's go Gary Bree. We're just making up names, and a template. Again, we don't have a template we're going to use, which a template just consists of the forms waiting for you, as you can see, but we're just going to do one for today. Type, we are we are residential sale, and we're going to be importing this data, right? So this is how we're going to work. And again, it's to speed up the process and to show you what's going to happen, right? Here's our subject property here. I'm going to have to block out a few things when it comes to privacy reasons on this, but that's okay. Most of the stuff you can see in House Sigma these days anyways. But what I like to do is when I'm creating this is I like to put at the top here as well the address, because in the real world, you possibly are going to be making a bunch of offers, right? And that's what this agreement of purchase and sale is I'm just going to go like this. We don't need to put kitchen for this time. Is an offer, right? So I like to put this with it because we could be making multiple offers, and I like to be really organized, right? So we go back here and we're going to be scraping information, right? So as you can see here, I'm just going to be grabbing this MLS number, and we're going to be scraping the information from this listing. Of course, we'll be double checking it, and I'll show you how to do that as well, which is fantastic. But this allows us to move much faster. And again, how I like to teach is just what you're going to do every day. We are the cooperating salesperson. We're going to let the wizard do its thing, right? And just go create. We're going to go through 5 steps. It's essentially 4. The last one's nothing. And then from there, we're going to move it into Authentisign, right? So, and you're going to see everything, how it fills out, how this process works, and everything like that. Okay, top to bottom, let's just see what has populated already. Okay, so street number on the left-hand side, name, city, province, postal code, perfect, frontage direction, fantastic. On the right-hand side, residential, MLS number, property width, property depth, perfect, assessment roll number. All this stuff is great. We can use this for now. And okay, purchase price. So let's say hypothetically, you have done your CMAs, right? So let's say we're offering 1.3 million, right? It's listed almost at 1.3. You've done your due diligence, right? Again, I'm just filling out the APS for you today. Look to my buyer and seller logistics and actions course in the description below if you want to know everything, right? So in this particular case, you've already done your CMAs. You know why you're offering X amount, right? You know the additional forms that have to go with offer process. Look for that. Today, we're just filling out an APS, so you have that, but of course, refer to that. And I have templates that I use all the time. If I literally have to copy and paste anything, I love just having small templates waiting for me, right? So present use, in this particular case, single family residential. Deposit, we head back to the listing. I'll scroll down for this, and we have deposit here, 75,000. Copy this, head back over. Deposit, additional deposits, we're not doing that. So again, that's into the 1%. Doesn't happen often. Property includes, so we're heading over here for the inclusions. Okay, perfect. We can see all of the inclusions here. Usually, I'm just quickly looking at this. Usually, there's going to be exclusions underneath that. It doesn't look like there's any exclusions. So what you can do is you can put none here or just continue. Rental items, very, very important. That is under contract. So they have a hot water heater that they are renting. This is very important information that you need to find out. And let's head down a little bit. Right-hand side. No, let's keep going, keep going. Perfect. What I like to do is go back up, just quickly look at everything before you go on to the next steps. And okay, so when you get up here and you have like property with property death, there's a million things that you can verify, which is fantastic. So I'm just going to show you a couple ways here, right? So if we go back to our listing, let's quickly grab the address. And one really awesome thing that you can do is head to Geo Warehouse. You probably heard them talking about Geo Warehouse a bunch, right? You just come over to your tools and head to Geo Warehouse. There's other ways, of course, a third-party professional. As you're there by yourself, you're looking at things. There's a bunch of ways to verify the city council, stuff like that. But Geo Warehouse is a really good one. I'm not going to go deep into it because I would have to block out a lot of information, right? We're going to be protecting the seller's information, the listing agent's information, stuff like that. As this populates here, you can kind of see it usually sometimes populates over in Toronto. You just got to pick your area, right? So if you're whatever your area is, just come on the right-hand side and pick here. And then you just want to put the address in. You don't have to go too deep. You don't have to put Ontario. You don't have to put the postal code. It will find it. And this is a super, super cool little tool that we all get as realtors, right? So you're going to go property report. And in here, it verifies all this information. I'm not going to scroll down because it's going to show last sale, stuff like that. And I know we can find this information on House Sigma, but for the sake of this video, let's just keep it all completely compliant as we fill this out. But this, just know that when you're verifying information, right? So when you're at this point in, this is web forms. When you're at web forms and you're at step 1, filling this information, you'll want to verify this information. Okay, out of the way, let's move on to the next one, step 2. And again, right here, there's information that's not going to be scraped in this particular one. Okay, so we don't have an expiry date. Let's just say we have an offer date. Hypothetically, today is the 15th. Let's say we actually are offering on the 15th. Let's say they were holding offers and this is the exact day, right? So we're going to go irrevocable, same day, right? And we'll change this over in the agreement of purchase and sale to the exact time, which most likely will be 11:59 p.m. Acceptance dates, we do not know that. Additional deposit, don't need that. Closing date. Okay, so we want to go back here and have a quick look and see when they're looking for closing date. So it's a possession date, right? So, and it looks like they are flexible, which is fantastic. And again, these are conversations you will have with your buyer client. This is very important. They might be selling their house, yada, yada. But let's say for hypothetical reasons, it's going to be a 60-day closing. Perfect. So let's say 1, 2 over and rough about the 15th. I usually try to move it to the middle of the week. So let's just say we'll put it the 15th for this particular case. And we now need a title search date, right? Of course, you're learning about title search dates in the Humber College Real Estate Program. Very important, usually a week or 2 before closing, and they just cannot be on a weekend or a holiday. And note that lawyers I found like to work midweek, Wednesday, Thursday, opposed to Friday. So that's just good information to know. Move up the top, double check everything, and head over to step 3. Okay, from here, I will be blocking out some information, again, to block out the sellers and the listing agent. I'll quickly do that, and I'll replace them so that still appears. So let's do that now. Okay, perfect. I've substituted them out. As you can see, they're down here now. I've just made up names for them, and that's perfect because we need that to populate later. But what we will do is we will add our buyer, right? So our buyer is Gary Bree. Let's add that person in here because we're going to want them to buyer. You just go down here. We just want add, and we're going to go Gary. Perfect. And we're going to go Bree. This way we now have a buyer in there, and we'll add their email address later on. In this particular case, we're going to be adding a dummy email address so we can see what it looks like. Okay, off to step 4. There's 3 done. And now we want to add our forms. Like mentioned before, if you're using templates, which I hope you are, I know some real estate agents don't, all of your forms will be waiting for you right here. But in this particular case, and I know there's a lot of real estate agents that add forms every time, and you can just add more. You know what? Sometimes there might be cases where your templates don't include certain forms and you need to add it. So this is good information to know. This is where you would just add it, quickly find it, and pop it right in there. Okay, so there, that's 4 done. And again, like mentioned, step 5 is nothing, something to do with fax cover sheets, which we don't do anymore. Okay, so now you have what's called your transaction set up. Some people call this a kit. I suggest calling it a transaction. Call it what it is. Okay, so here are your forms here, right? So usually you have a bunch of forms as you're making an offer, but in this particular case, we're just filling out one, which is agreement to purchase and sale. What I suggest doing is always filling this out first anyways. Do the heavy lifting. Do the heavy lifting. This is the biggest form to fill out. After this, the other ones are simple, right? Before sending it off. to your buyer clients to get signatures and receive back and send them off as an offer, which we're going to do in this. Okay, now we're just double checking. Okay, how much has been filled out? What do we have to add? Small stuff like that. Spoiler alert, a lot of this stuff is going to be filled out, right? So we have to fill out this where it's fronting, just quickly copy. I always just move quite fast in the city, right? City of, and we know it's Kitchener, right? So this is a quick stuff. I kind of wish this would populate because it's basically already there once you verified what side it's fronting on. As you go down, perfect. It's all there. Our offer date, 1,300,000. And of course, it's going to be upon acceptance. Again, like mentioned, we talk about 95, 99% of the time. Payable to, back to our templates. You can find this in the listing as well, but I just have it waiting for us. Let's just say it was Remax. That's what they need. That's what's going to be on the bank draft. Schedule, perfect there, irrevocable by the buyer. And like mentioned earlier, it's going to be 11:59 p.m. as that's what our offer is going to be. They're holding offers to a specific date. We want to give them until midnight to look at it. Keep going down. Completion, like we put in earlier, that's already there. Chattels included, fixtures none. You can write none there if you like. Rental heat, okay. Purchase price included in, right? You'll only see addition to on resale properties, possibly very highly refurbished properties. You might see it, but most likely 99% included in. Keep going down. And if you struggle with these, or if you're just learning and you're fearing explaining these pre-printed clauses, I have a separate video I'll quickly put in the cards right here that goes through each one of these pre-printed clauses in the agreement of purchase sale. Fantastic video there. Down here, everything looks like it's perfectly in place. Like it, confirmation of acceptance. Okay, we'll mention this or later. One thing we won't be filling out is the confirmation of acceptance because that happens at the very end, and I'm only making one email dummy account. So, but I'll talk about that when we get over to Authentisign. Perfect. All this stuff is here. It's already filled out for us, which is great. Acknowledgement, yes. Commission trust agreement. And again, we're going to be filling out some stuff that you shouldn't be filling out in proper order. Again, in my course, I talk about the exact order you're supposed to do things. In this particular case today, we're just going to be filling it out completely. Okay, when you get down here, this is your Schedule A. This is where your conditions go. Let's say condition on financing, condition on home inspection, right? The big ones, right? Let's say hypothetically, for the sake of this video, we're coming in clean. Coming in clean is in we have no conditions, but you always want to add some small stuff, right? So you have to click here. If I don't click here, I can't click up here in clauses. So you're going to click here and you're going to want to add some clauses, right? And again, templates are your best friend. You're going to have a bunch of templates in here, high personal clauses, high use clauses, right? Let's say for the sake of this video, we're just going to go access the property, which is a couple times before in the closing process. They got to come do some measurements, stuff like that. Let's say chattels and fixtures are in good working order and the balance of the purchase price to be paid, right? So, and again, this is where you could search clauses if you like. This is where you'll have all of your clauses waiting for you. And then you just tweak them a little bit, right? We're not here to reinvent the wheel every single time we're making an offer, are we? You double check your basket. Okay, perfect. And I'll watch them just pop right in there. Absolutely perfectly easy. Nothing, right? Nothing too hard. Okay, what I'd like you to do when you're doing this properly is go all the way back through. Go all the way back up. But if this video not being too long, I'm just going to quickly press save and exit. I'll show you where this goes because you can move it to Authentisign straight from there, but I'll just quickly show you where it goes. Of course, it's right here and it's filled out now. Head over to Forms. And then we're going to click this, we're going to click your basket, and we're going to move it to Authentisign. So whether your brokerage uses Authentisign, DigiSign, or DocuSign, it doesn't matter, right? Authentisign is sometimes free. If it's not free, it's $99 a year. It's built into this software. My brokerage, eXp Realty, has DigiSign for free. It doesn't matter, to tell you the truth. These are all very similar softwares, and it's just signing signature software. You just got to get used to it, and sometimes it is a pain. Especially if you're poor teaching, but once you get it down, you kind of understand how this works. And again, a lot of this stuff is going to be filled out for us. We just need to show you how to add a couple people and completely fill it out to a certain extent. Okay, now this is loaded. We just want to start adding participants, right? So we'll go here first and we'll add ourselves. Once you have this all set up, this will just already be in here for you. You won't have to write out yourself every time, that's for sure. I'll have to move my head around a little bit here, but we're just assigning blocks, aren't we, right? So we are, of course, the cooperating agent in this particular scenario. We just want to make sure that it starts populating for us the blocks like the initials, the signatures. We won't have many as the cooperating agent, but our buyer will, right? So we want to add new. You can create them into a contact. What was it again? Gary Bree. Perfect. An email address, we're just going to use a dummy email address for this particular one, just so you can see what it looks like, exactly what I would have wanted to see without knowing this kind of stuff, right? So we'll create Gary Bree under a alternative email address, just so we can see. And we're, of course, we're going to make them the buyer one, aren't we? Okay, perfect. Head back here. And now we have two of our people. Okay, so we can even close this down for now and just start seeing what's populated, right? So, okay, perfect. We're looking for Gary Bree, GB initials at the bottom of every single page on the agreement of purchase and sale, as well as some signatures below. We won't have many like mentioned. Okay, perfect. Here's successors and assigns already populated for us. Acknowledgement. And again, I think I mentioned this before already. This is stuff you wouldn't do in this order. In the logistics and actions course, I show you how to do this in proper order, but a lot of agents send this in improper order. This wouldn't be here yet, but we're filling it out completely. So we're going to put it in here. Okay, but let's say you were here and this wasn't here, right? It's so simple. Just go over to tools. You can go sign here, add ones if you like, right? Delete them, get rid of them. It populates the date as well. Just move it around. If there was an initial for Gary that was in the wrong place, just move it around. Too easy, stuff like that. Very, very simple software. It'll be the same on a bunch of them. So these are all here. Looks like everything's perfectly in place, right? I wanted to quickly touch on that one section that we're not going to be filling out, just so you know what it means. Okay, so we're going to go down to confirmation of acceptance, right? So when it's confirmation of acceptance, you're going to use a tool. You're going to fill this out perfectly. And this is on the sell side, or it could be on the buy side as well. If it's countered, it's the last party. And it's super simple. You just fill out exactly the time that it happened and the signature of the, see if it says seller or buyer. In this case, if our offer was accepted, they would be the last to fill it out. If they countered and we accepted the counter, we'd be the last to fill it out. That's all that is. And we're not going to do that one today. But basically, you go next, top right, and let's start sending these off to each other. Okay, we don't have to have it expires on any particular date. It doesn't matter at all there, but let's do some custom invites, right? Like mentioned before, I have templates set up for everything. I like to make sure my buyers, especially if they're brand new buyers, right? If they're first time home buyers, sometimes they haven't done these types of signatures before. This is the one that's just sending to us. So I just put 1-1. That doesn't matter. But down here, this is what's going to Gary, right? So, and I have all of these templates always in order. And it's just like, here's off to sign. So this is a subject line, right? Perfect. Put it here. And then just quickly get rid of address. I'll have all these always waiting because it just makes you move a lot faster. And this is, we're in the service industry, right? This is the email they're going to get receiving. Sometimes people have never done this type of stuff before, right? So I just quickly change this, have it ready to go, and change it for whatever's happening to you, right? I have it very simple. I have the address in there, offer on. Here are the few forms to sign, a few. You can just say one. It's easiest on desktop, but mobile friendly as well. If you press star to right, which I'll show you how that looks. Once completed, I'll send it back to me. As soon as I get them, I'll send them off to the listing agent, right? All the best. So we'll save that. And we will now send invites. What I'm going to do is, usually it happens pretty fast, but I'm going to quickly go to these emails and we'll just look at what it looks like. We'll get ours first. We'll quickly fill it out. And then Gary, our buyer, will get theirs next. So I'm going to quickly go over here and see if they're filled out. Okay, perfect. We already have it. As you can see, this is the one we have to do, and it's nothing at all. This was that start signing. That's that one there because we don't need to a custom invite for ourselves. Of course, we know what's happening, but you can do some stuff to make keep yourself more organized if you like. And then here we go. We accept and we start. Top right, we have one. Sign, done. Complete signing. That will send back to us. It goes to the next person in line, right? Which is super important if you have multiple buyers, right? And you're on a time deadline because you need to know who's holding up the process, right? So we're informed when that happens. Let me go to the dummy email now, that callumwork11 gmail.com, which is going to be Gary, and see if that's come in for us yet. Okay, perfect. It's already come in. So we click this. And again, remember, we are Gary. Perfect. Here's our little template waiting for us. And now we start signing. It's super, super fast. Especially this is fantastic when you are on a deadline. And I know we're going a little bit outside of just filling out the agreement of purchase and sale, but this is awesome stuff that I would like to know. So then they just start and they just click all the way down. They have to create set their signature. Perfect. That's too easy. You can even mention that in your email to send to them, and they just go all the way down.
perfect, and it signs for them. They'll probably look a little closer than this. Some would just press it like as fast as I did and complete signing. Okay, so now that comes back to us, right? So now we want this process because we're gonna look it over, make sure they've signed everything properly, right? Or this is what you would do. So I'm gonna check the other email and see if Gary's come back to us yet. Okay, perfect. And as you can see below here, if you see these 2 emails, these are updates, right? Knowing the first update's just that we did something, right? They always just updates anyways, even though we know we just did it. Second was Gary, he just did something, and then perfect. Now we have the complete. What this is here, and these are the documents you'll get. Let's say it was multiple documents, like a proper offer, right? And you have 3, 4, 5, sometimes documents, right? You would have them all listed right down here individually. I suggest downloading them individually. It's better for organization, but you can always go here as well, and it will give you a completely merged document of all 5, right? I like them separate personally. So you click here and it downloads them for you. I'll quickly open it up for a second before we dive out of the computer. Give me 1 second. And here we have our fully completed, filled out agreement of purchase and sale from A to Z, just missing that one section. Like mentioned before, the one section, which you will be doing at the very end if you are on the sell side, or if it's a counter coming back of the confirmation of acceptance. This is the only part not filled out. Okay, guys, we'll see you right out of the computer.
I really hope that helped, guys, and as mentioned, if you're looking to learn it all, look for my buyer and seller logistics and actions course in the description below. From searching for properties for your clients, doing full CMAs, filling out all the forms needed on the buy and sell side, detailed all the way to the closing date. That course is exactly what I wish I had it when I started as a real estate agent. It would have saved me so much pain, so many headaches, so much time, effort, and stress. Learn in a weekend or week what takes average brand new agents months, years, or when I find out, some never even learn. You'll have lifetime access to it, which is huge because it's impossible to memorize all this stuff to refer back to when needed. And that link in the description below is also a discounted value link for the YouTube family for the time being. I'll put that same link right here for you if needed. And again, I'm Callum Moore, eXp Realty real estate broker here in Ontario. If you have any questions at all, you can DM, email, comment on this video. I get back to everyone. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.